Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about the 100 men versus one gorilla, right? Silverback gorilla. This has been taking the internet by storm. I see this on Facebook, Instagram. I mean, you name it, people are talking about it. So if you haven't heard, let me give you a recap so you know what's going on, right? I don't know how it started, right? How does any of these viral things get started? But someone had mentioned that if you had 100 men, right, adult men, fight a silverback gorilla, just one gorilla, 100 men, who would win, right? And I see an overwhelming amount of videos about the gorilla winning. And I'm going to go against the grain here and say that 100 men could absolutely win in a fight, right, or kill a silverback gorilla. Now, before you go commenting, you have to hear me out. You have to hear the whole story here. So the videos I've seen have basically, there are people trying to like educate the public as to exactly what's going on with a silverback gorilla. The immense amount of strength, right? Biting capacity, the fact that their skeleton's thicker than ours, it's harder to break their limbs. It's, their skin is incredibly thick, their skull's incredibly thick, they got big teeth, all this kind of stuff, right? So they're basically arguing like, that's ridiculous, that's crazy, there's no way. And by the way, here's the rules. The rules are no weapons. It's not like a man can come and stab it or shoot it. Obviously, that's stupid, right? You're talking about just yourself, right? One silverback gorilla against 100 men. For all intent purposes, all the men have the same sweatsuit on, let's say, or outfit, right? So there's no weapons. There's no, like, tricks behind this. It's just the strength, the smarts, and the fighting capability of these two different species, right? So what everyone's arguing about really is just, again, they're going on and on about the details of a silverback gorilla, like to basically tell people, like, if you think 100 men could beat a gorilla, you're stupid. Essentially, that's what they're saying. And I understand where they're coming from, right? It would be very difficult. If you're talking about 5 guys against a silverback gorilla, I would say the silverback gorilla would probably win. However, when someone says 100, as if that number doesn't matter, this is where I really feel like it makes a difference, a huge difference. Now, there's a couple of things at play here that are very important for my scenario. My scenario where 100 men do beat and kill a silverback gorilla with no weapons, this is dependent on all 100 men being determined, right? It's not like there's many different scenarios, and when you have a question like this, like, oh, one gorilla versus 100 men, it's very easy to just be like, oh yeah, the gorilla's gonna win, or in my case, oh yeah, the men will win, because you're not really like setting the rules, and you're not setting the circumstances surrounding this scenario. It's a fake scenario, obviously, right? And there's no real answer, because we will never have this happen. There will never be a real answer to this, a truth to this, because obviously you can't have animal cruelty, and no one's going to allow a bunch of people to be killed by a gorilla anyway in the process, right? So we'll never really know. Not only that, but even if you play the scenario out multiple times, you could have different outcomes. You could have this 100 men couldn't do it, but this 100 men could do it, right? That's also a different scenario. You have different silverback gorillas where maybe one has more of a temperament, one has more, I don't know, energy to survive, maybe. I don't know. But here's how I'm thinking about this whole scenario and why I want to make the video, just to explain myself a little bit. So if you took 100 men now, like literally randomly took people who, working at the store, retail, working in an office building, just like random dudes, and you put them in an arena and you let a silverback gorilla loose and you said, okay, fight, you know what I mean? Yeah, the gorilla will probably win. In my scenario, where the people actually win is where you have determined men who are dead set on beating this gorilla, right? And willing to die for it. That's the biggest thing, because in a real life scenario, no one wants to die fighting a gorilla. So you have a bunch of those 100 men hiding and running and not fighting, not actively trying to defeat this animal, right? So in my scenario, you have 100 determined men who know if they do not win, they will die. Like, that's the option. Like, you're fighting for your life, okay? That's a whole different fight than just randomly 100 people hoping they don't get hurt, right? So in my scenario, and by the way, these men, they don't have to be like the peak fitness. It could be 100 random dudes, but something like when you go on and on about talking of the capabilities of a silverback gorilla, and don't get me wrong, they are massively strong. It's, I mean, one against one, it's a no-brainer. There's no way without weapons, one man will defeat a silverback gorilla. But like one thing that people aren't talking about, because they're repeating, you know, again, bite strength and, you know, how strong they are and how much they could grip things, they could rip your arm off your body, stuff like that. You're leaving out the fact that it's an animal, right? And animals need a couple things to survive, right? My biggest thought in this whole process, this whole debate really is, how many men does this have to kill before it starts getting tired, right? Because all animals get tired. The strongest animal on this planet gets tired. Now, every video you've ever seen, every zoo visit you've ever had with a silverback gorilla, you could see they're quick, boom, 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 like they're fast and they're strong. It's amazing. But what is their real endurance over time, right? Silverback gorillas don't run for miles. They don't, you know, climb an endless tree. You know what I mean? So like they will get tired at some point. And the question is, well, how long will it take to get tired? If you have 5 guys, like groups of 5 guys try to kill a silverback gorilla, and the gorilla is fighting and stomping and swinging and biting and climbing and throwing and all this stuff, how many of those sets of 5 guys is it going to take for that gorilla to just tire out? It's just like exhausted from beating people to death, right? So that's my first thought. Second of all, like the real question is, how do you kill it, right? Because you can't just like punch it in the head. You'd probably break your hand if you punched a silverback gorilla in the head as hard as you can. And after thinking about it a little bit, I would think asphyxiation would be the most logical way to kill this animal, right? So how do you do that without weapons? Well, it's going to kill guys, right? So maybe it does rip someone's arm off. Why can't you just take that arm and just jam it down the gorilla's throat? And now it can't breathe, it dies. It's got 2 little nostrils and a mouth. It needs to breathe. Now when it's fighting, it's going to be breathing heavy. It's going to be huffing and puffing. So if you can last, if enough dudes sacrifice themselves essentially and die fighting this thing, it's going to get super tired. You pick up someone's foot that got bit off or ripped off or whatever, and you jam it down the monkey's throat. And that's it, it chokes to death. It's tired, it can't fight back at this point. You know, so maybe it takes 50 guys, 70 guys, whatever. In my brain, right, because maybe it's like a defensive thing. I'm thinking like, you know, people are better than monkeys. You know, 100 dudes can kill a monkey, right? Yes, this is the biggest, grandest monkey. And by the way, when you see people talking about this and there's animations, they're showing a silverback gorilla being like, you know, 15 feet tall. That's not real. It's not as big as you think it is. It is as strong as you think. It's probably stronger than you think it is. It's more capable for sure. But I think the big factor is it's going to get tired. And I feel like people could win. I might sound like a total fool for even arguing that side of it. But it's like everything else. You know, people have opinions, you know. So let me know in the comment section. Do you think 100 men, in my scenario, 100 determined men that know they're going to die unless they defeat this silverback gorilla, can they do it? Is the gorilla going to get tired enough where, like, because again, I'm thinking like it's going to kill 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 40 people maybe. It's got to get tired at some point. And once it's tired, you know what I'm saying? You got 5 guys holding this arm down, 5 guys holding this arm down, 5 guys holding this foot, 5 guys on that foot, right? So you got 20 people holding the thing down, and, you know, 2 or 3 dudes like just shoving stuff down its throat until it chokes to death. I think that's possible. Maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. Also, the eyes. I heard some people say this. I thought about that immediately. If you gouge its eyes out, because it doesn't matter how strong its skin and everything. It has 2 soft eyeballs, just like me and you. So you get in there with your hands and your fingernails and you just claw that thing out. And now it's blind. If you could do that fairly quickly in the fight, yeah, it's going to panic. It's going to run around swinging and making noises and yelling and biting and stuff. But I think that it would be defeated enough, especially if it was blind. But even if you take that scenario out, even if you don't gouge its eyes out, right, I still think it's going to tire before it could kill 100 men. We'll never know. If you watch footage of a silverback gorilla fighting things, even other gorillas, other monkeys and stuff, like I said, yes, it's a massively powerful animal. It's amazing. But 100 men, with smarts, by the way, right? We're smarter than monkeys. At least some of us are. I like to hope that I'm smarter than a gorilla. Maybe I'm not. I don't really know. I got the, opposable thumbs. So, like, I could do some stuff a gorilla can't do. But, yeah, I would feel like 100 men could outsmart this gorilla. And it's just one way. It's my logical way of, like, how do you actually kill without weapons? Suffocation. I think that is the only answer. Maybe there's other ways. Maybe you could beat it to death somehow if it was tired enough and you have enough men, curb stomping the thing in the head. Maybe. I don't know. But people are definitely going to die. People are definitely going to lose hands and fingers and feet and faces. There are going to be some messed up people and some dead people for sure. But 100 guys? Now, the other argument is that you can't have 100 guys attacking it at once, obviously. Like physical space, maybe 10, 15 dudes at once could kind of fight it. But I don't know. I mean, we don't have enough. I don't think we have enough technology to digitally play this out because there's so many factors. Like if you had an AI program that you gave all the information about people and all the information about the gorilla and you have them fight digitally in this fake world, it wouldn't be a fair result because you're leaving out so many factors. Like, again, the smarts of 100 men working together, thinking and discussing and talking. And that's the other question too. Do you have time to like play this out first, or that's it? You just 100 men, they have no idea what they're doing, and then all of a sudden they release this silverback gorilla and everyone's just fighting. It's chaos. So is there time to plan? Are these actually physically fit men too, or do you have 100 obese guys who can't stand for more than 5 minutes? That would change the scenario. Are they, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of questions. But I'm just saying, so many people are so easy and quick to just go, no, there's no way. I think there's a way. I think there's a lot of different scenarios where this plays out and the 100 guys win. Well, not the 100 guys, but whatever's left wins. It could be 20 dudes in the end. It could be 4 guys in the end. It could be 80 guys. Who knows? But I think the people could beat it, the silverback gorilla. So I wanted to give my little 2 cents here. I want to hear your thoughts about it. I know obviously it's going to be 50-50. Or maybe not. Maybe it's going to be 90-10. 9 out of 10 of you are going to go, Jeff, come on. Silverback gorilla. And then one other person for every 9 people are going to be like me and go, yeah, I know, but, So the details matter. When there's scenarios like this, the details really, really matter. So I think that's important. But anyway, kind of a fun discussion. I love the idea. I wish you came up more of these, I think someone said a long time ago, it was like 50 kids to 1 adult or whatever. Can like 1 adult male win in a fight against 50 like kindergartners, let's say? Now it's a little different because the kindergartners maybe aren't as smart, whereas the 1 adult would be smarter of how they fight and attack, you know what I mean? But again, that one dude's going to get tired. 50 little kids, kicking and punching you and biting you. I mean, it's going to tire out. I think that's the biggest, missed part of this whole thing is that no matter what's fighting, they're going to get tired fighting, So numbers matter though. 1 silverback gorilla against 1 man, the gorilla wins 10 out of 10 times, right? 100%, there's no way. 1 silverback gorilla against 5 guys? Probably not going to help the odds much. The gorilla's probably still going to win. 10 guys, 20 guys, 50 guys, 100 guys. I mean, the numbers do matter. 100 adult men, come on. But yeah, I mean, even if you think the gorilla would win, now understanding that, yeah, it's going to get tired, what is the number? Do you think 200 men would kill a gorilla? Would 1,000 adult men kill a gorilla? Of course. You would probably agree 1,000 men would kill a gorilla, right? But why? What's the difference? At what point does the matter or the amount of men matter, But it's an animal. It's going to get tired. It's got to breathe. These are like, simple things for survival, right? So, yeah. Interesting discussion, It's just funny because people are actually fighting over it, It's a ridiculous thing. And again, it's one of those things where we'll never really have an answer. There's no right or wrong answer. There's just an opinion, and your opinion can't be wrong. It could be logical and illogical, but it can't be wrong. So anyway, that's all. Talk amongst yourselves down in the comment section. I'd love to hear it. But yeah, I think we got this. We got this. I know if I was in that group, 100 men, I'd want to hold off a little. I wouldn't be the first 5 guys that rush in, And that's where the problem is that in a real life scenario, no one's going to be excited to fight that monkey. You know, the first couple are going to die. You have to kind of realize that. So who's going to sacrifice themselves for this goal? What is the purpose of this? Outside of like your life being threatened if you don't do it, you know what I mean? I don't know. But yeah, so love to hear your opinions. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.